Welcome to RetroBytes Episode 1. My name is Brian, and this is a show where Sam, Alan, and I are going to talk about video games and life. And on today's show, we're going to meet the team, discuss some tropes, and we're going to wrap it all up with what we think is some of the best innovations in video game history. Alright, before we start the show, I want to mention our social medias. We have a Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/retrotopia, where you can join for free, and you'll be able to take part in polls, comment on shows, submit comments and thoughts to be read on future shows, suggest 5x5 topics, listen to our secondary show, Quick Play, and eventually this show is going to become a Patreon-only podcast. And if you want to just join in on the discussion, you can find all of our other social medias over at linktree/retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/retrotopia. And there you can find our Discord, our Twitter, our Facebook, and our YouTube channel. Let's begin the show. Alright, it's a first episode of RetroByte, and we are talking about whatever the fuck we want to talk about for one. So this is me, Sam, and Alan together, and we're going to start off with talking a little bit about ourselves. So let's meet the team there. Let's start with you, Alan, since you're the alphabetically V first. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your video game history, and anything you want to talk about. And we will interrupt you and make fun of you.
Absolutely. I expect no less, Brian. Thank you very much. For the record, to literally anyone who's listening, and if you are, thank you for a start. That's beautiful. We have absolutely no idea what we're doing right now.
No.
So anything can happen. So, yeah. Hope you're ready for a good time. So, video games. I love video games. I'm a huge, huge fan of video games. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. I started my video game journey. I don't know. I guess I was like 5 years old, because it was the Sega Master System is the earliest console that I remember having. And I distinctly remember playing Alex Kidd in Miracle World, which is as much as I'm going to say, as much as I'm going to say about that, because there is.
Why? It's a great game, isn't it? Just ask McGee.
It's
and you're still playing video games to this day. Like It didn't completely turn you off from.
It's a game. I can confirm it is a game. Well, no, because when I was a kid, I couldn't get past like the second level, the first Janken match. But there's a quick play either coming up or already out or whenever this is happening. So you'll get to hear all my thoughts about it then. I think it was really when I first played. I mean, it'll be a surprise to no one, but Sonic the Hedgehog. That was, I'm pretty sure, after we got our Mega Drive or Genesis. I remember having Sonic 1 and Altered Beast. Both good games, great games. One better than the other. But yeah, that little blue bastard just hooked me from then on out. I was absolutely obsessed. I had comics, toys, games. I watched the TV show, everything. Like my childhood life was Sonic the Hedgehog.
I always say that Sonic actually was better off of video games than he was on video games. Just my opinion.
I mean,
not a hot take.
I mean,
it's not a hot take, but you go against a Sonic fan there, and they get all, Sonic's better than Mario.
No, I mean, if you were to talk about the first three, I might argue with you. But
I'm talking about more modern Sonic rather than the original.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't debate that the crossover to 3D just didn't do him any favors.
No.
So I was obviously a Sega kid. We did eventually get a Super Nintendo. I missed the NES altogether, so that was always kind of a console for me that was a mystery. I'd see them around other people's houses, and I was this looks awesome. I'd really like to play it, but it wasn't until I was an adult that I finally got to play an NES.
My God, man, you were deprived as a child.
I know, right? I didn't play NES until I was a man.
Mommy and Daddy didn't like me enough to get me a good console.
Listen. I ended up with the full blown final form freezer of Sega consoles. I had the Mega Drive with the Mega CD bolted on and the 32X.
Oh, shut up! And then did you put Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 on top?
Yeah, and you just kept stacking the games.
Do you know what? I have no recollection of doing that, but I must have done.
Just fucking mega stack.
Do you know that thing? Every console had its own plug socket. Every had its own lead. So it was a monster, an absolute monster.
It's like the Megazords of friggin' consoles.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically looked like the Mega Drive was on life support. Unfortunately,
in many ways, it was.
Yeah.
You're right. Unfortunately, that was we got burgled one year, and that all went. And I was so close to completing Sonic 3D. I think 3D Blast.
Oh, I'm playing.
I feel like this story is going to be more about you're pissed off that you were almost finished the game that you didn't get to finish, rather than everything got burgled.
Well, you know what I'm like.
Yeah,
I get very pissed off when I can't finish the game.
Yeah.
But then, Sega Saturn we had as well. After that, and I love that console. We took that everywhere with us, and a lot of fond memories with that one. And then there's just a bit of a jump from there until I suppose no, not that big a jump actually, because then I went PlayStation 2, and then a bit of a lapse in gaming before I went back to a bit late in the game getting an Xbox 360 because I really wanted to play Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and from then on out I've just been collecting games just non-stop.
Yeah, you've showed us your collection there. It's pretty sweet.
Thank you very much. Well, yeah, no, it's since I met my now wife, who, bless her heart, fully encourages that sort of behaviour. I was just like, right. She's even supplied some of the consoles herself. So,
well, think about it this way: you could be out drinking with your mates all the time, having soccer rights or whatever you do over there, or you could be at home playing video games. Which would she prefer?
I mean,
she wants to go to a footy game, doesn't she?
Oh God, no. That being said, actually, I'm being a very, very bad British gent, because I think we're actually playing in the semi-finals or something. I don't know. At some point.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 1-1. There we are.
There we go.
There we go.
You paid attention for like a second.
This is
more important.
He didn't even have to look at the TV. It just naturally gets beamed into their brains.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's
like Canadians with hockey.
We get it through the tea. But yeah, that's about it, really. Been a gamer pretty much all my life. Loved it. Couldn't imagine myself doing anything else.
Yeah, no. Did you ever take a pause in gaming? Like, get that I went to university and was poor. I couldn't afford to keep up with the habit.
I mean,
era.
Not so much of being poor, but it was just being in situations where that sort of thing wasn't particularly looked fondly upon. Yeah.
Yep.
Living with people and it's just like never getting any time to do it.
No, I know that one all too well.
Yeah, so, but now I've got a whole floor of the house dedicated to gaming, and it's beautiful. And I'm part of one of the best gaming podcasts there is out there. Perhaps the best.
Oh, you're stepping out on us?
Yeah, which one is this?
What the hell, man? What the hell?
No. You ain't getting rid of me that easy.
All right, Sam, how about you? Let's flip the script and go from the bottom of the alphabet now, and that way I get to go third.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you've listened to the quick plays, I think my first ever gaming experience holding a controller and playing a game is either when I was very young, we had an NES, and that was late in the NES lifespan. So that was probably 92 by that point. So Super Nintendo had come out, but I was pretty young. I was probably 3 or 4. And so I think maybe we played Super Mario Duck Hunt. It was either that or I remember a time going to my grandparents' house and my dad digging out the Atari 2600 and throwing
nice.
in Empire Strikes Back, which I did a quick play on. And
you were incredibly fond of that game.
It certainly is a game, I guess. It's just like Alex Kidd. It's like, well, it does things, it bleeps and bloops, but it doesn't really do much else aside from that, and you can't win it. So it's like,
well, that was the style of the time was unwinnable games.
Yeah, the style at the time was more of an arcade style. You're going for like a high score, but that I think was my first game, and I don't know if I was hooked right away, but definitely was aware of video games and would play cousins. At cousins' house, we'd play Nintendo. Most of my cousins had an NES or a Super Nintendo. My first console was the Sega Genesis. So much like you, Alan, I had Sonic and Altered Beast in my rotation. I had, oh man, Kid Chameleon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, Alan in the back there. It's that South Park thing where the cable guys, they rip the nipple covers off there and like, oh,
yes.
It's like any mention of just about any Mega Drive game is going to give me a raging clue.
Yeah. Biohazard Battle was one that I had. I don't know if you ever played that one, or maybe it's called something different by you.
I know it. It's the shoot 'em up.
Yeah, kind of. You're in this like weird looking ship, and you've got a little laser beam. It
might have a different name. I'm gonna check that out while you're talking.
Yeah, check that out. Yeah, that was a fun one. But like I think really the turning point for me was the kind of Nintendo 64, and getting the Game Boy was a big deal for me. So that was and then making the jump to PlayStation, like also around that time. RPGs became my bread and butter. I was never really particularly that good at console games. I was actually, I think now that I think about it, more of my formative or like memories I'm most fond of in that kind of like 96 to 99 era is like playing PC games. Real-time strategy shooters, stuff like boomer shooters are real big, like Quake, Duke Nukem, Doom, like Dark Forces, Star Wars Dark Forces. Yeah, like that kind of stuff was really what I grew up on. And then like the first games I remember completing were Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Diddy Kong Racing, I think, Pokemon was a big one, and then some of the like Mario games on the Game Boy were ones that really. Then I was just starting to come into my own as I can maybe beat a game. Like I wasn't really getting that close to beating anything when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Of course, I never do.
Yeah,
it's just fun to see the colors and the bleeps and the bloops.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, preference wise, RPGs are big. Turn-based RPGs and strategy RPGs are kind of my favorite. I've gotten a lot more into the like Metroidvania style. Like I've played Metroid and some Castlevanias more recently and really enjoyed that. Obviously, we just talked about the Messenger games like that.
You see how I controlled my noises there.
Did you put yourself in? Did you put yourself on mute for your moans of pleasure?
I stuffed a sock in my mouth. Yeah.
I don't get into a lot of multiplayer stuff, and like you, Alan, for a while I'd say probably in college for sure is when I lapsed on getting new consoles or games. I think I held on to my PS2, and that was like my main console for probably 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still got it. It's kicking around here. But yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah, if you're going to get stuck on a console, the PS2 is a good one to get stuck on.
It really is.
That library alone is just insane.
Well, plus it was backwards compatible. I mean, that thing was a hoss for a long time. But I mean, and college years for me were 2005 to 2009. we were still playing like Nintendo 64 was pretty much, I mean, we weren't playing anything new at the time. And then after that, I had gotten into the 360 a little bit, but I think Final Fantasy 13 is the game that I credit as officially kind of killing my desire to game for a few years. And then I was a little bit more like career and life focused. And then I figured out like, hey, once the Switch came around again, it was like, oh, I should be fucking with all this stuff. This is as fun as it ever was. And there's more stuff available than ever. I'm in hard. Hard.
It's a shame to hear you say that because Final Fantasy 13 is actually the next one I'm going to be playing.
Oh,
yeah, I need to give it a shot, but it is fully possible that I throw it on and end up quitting all of this again for another 10 years.
I played Final Fantasy 13 when it first came out because I'm a huge fan of the series, and I played 25 hours of that game, and it's completely on rails.
Is it?
Yes.
There's really not a lot of exploration like you'd expect in a Final Fantasy game until you get to this point where the world opens up. But by the point I got there, I was so bored I couldn't carry on.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, is it just me or is it, and to this day, like really am kind of put off of modern games. I don't play a lot of them. I'm playing Remake right now, and I just have no desire to go to it. And I know that I want to finish it. It just, fuck. Anyways, so that's why we're doing a retro.
10 years until it's a retro game.
Right. Yeah. Like that's why we're doing a retro gaming podcast. That's really what I prefer, is to play older stuff.
That's fair. Nostalgia is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, or like going back and playing a lot of stuff I missed, like ActRaiser and Illusion of Gaia. I mean, those are just both quintet games, but Final Fantasy 3, like there's been a bunch of stuff that we've played even just for the show. Chrono Trigger, for fuck's sake. I mean, all this stuff that, going back and playing stuff that I missed is really something that has been enjoyable for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. That's my story, I guess. I really am back as of the Switch era. So within, maybe just pre-COVID is when I got kind of back into gaming and got more interested in it again. And here I am.
Here we are.
Yeah, well, wonderful. I guess it's finally my turn to go. I can't avoid it anymore.
Go ahead, Brian. We have no one else to get in front of you. So
fuck. I've been holding off on this because you guys are so young compared to me. You're like talking about the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo as your first systems, or the Mega Drive. And
Brian
I'm like, oh fuck,
Brian
I'm
was
sitting
playing
here
the stick and hoop.
Yeah, I was
pretty
gonna say,
close.
Brian's was like an abacus.
Yeah, pretty close.
Not an abacus, the abacus, the first one.
the abacus. One. Then it got stolen by that Socrates guy or Pythagoras. I don't remember who stole it. Maybe his name was Abacus.
Kick him in the nuts.
Yeah, fuck him. Anyway, so yeah, my first gaming experience is old. It was the Atari 2600, back when it was the console to play. And it was at a babysitter house, so it was at on a black and white TV. I didn't know video games came in color for many, many years. I was like 4 at the time. And we didn't get a Nintendo until 1989, 1990-ish. So Atari 2600 was my entire gaming experience through the 80s, because we'd go outside and play and stuff like that, as was tradition for kids back then. I liked video games to the point that we moved around a lot when I was a kid. So video games was kind of, my entertainment, because, I always have to go to a new place every 2 to 3 years, make new friends and stuff like that. So video games, TV, they became my hobbies. I guess I'd say my first actual console, like, we owned that I can remember, would be the NES. Me and my brother did dishes to earn it through allowances and stuff like that. And then my jerk of a father won it at a contest and then held it from us for like 6 months.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What? 6 months?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just so we'd do dishes more. But
oh, man.
Then there was the Super Nintendo. We got that for Christmas. That was a joyous Christmas. A really good story behind that one I'm going to keep close to my heart. But we also went through that stigma of video games are for losers and nerds. So when I did make a bunch of friends, because when we got to the location, Trenton, Ontario, our military went through this what's called force reduction plan, where nobody was getting posted anymore. So we got stuck in Trenton for about 11 years, and that's where I made all my friends. I started playing hockey, going outside, getting into fights, meeting girls, all that good stuff. And I still liked Super Nintendo, and everybody like thought I was a loser because of it. Never played the Genesis or anything Sega. Actually, I
poor kid.
Well, I know, but it's because I like good games.
You never had that blast processing. You know,
yeah, exactly. I was like right deep into the console wars. I was like, every time a Sega commercial came on, I'd be like, yeah, fucking Sega. It's like, you're nowhere near as cool as Nintendo. Nintendo can do this better.
Yeah,
but
I remember those arguments. We had
yeah,
those too.
yeah.
Whereas we Sega kids did not even know you existed.
It's because you're too busy looking for games.
Oh.
Anyway, so yeah, I got a PlayStation right at the end of the 90s there by telling my dad that the demo discs you get in magazines were full games.
Oh, right.
He bought it, so I had demo discs for a while, but me and my brother chipped in for Final Fantasy VII. Like I said, I was a Final Fantasy fan. Cut my teeth on 2 on the Super Nintendo, fell in love with 6 or with 3 on the Super Nintendo, and then when 7 came out, we rented a console in the game, but we didn't have a memory card. So we ran the console for 48 straight hours while we swapped and played the game. And then when I got the Super Nintendo, me and my brother chipped in each to buy the game, but he was at college, so he made the deal that through Christmas break, he actually got to play. So I didn't get to play the game we bought for about 2 weeks. That was killing me. Yeah, after that I got my first job, like I joined the military, and then I bought the PlayStation 2, and from there I bought everything. I bought a PlayStation 2, a GameCube, an Xbox. I eventually got an N64. I had my Super Nintendo and Nintendo still. Then I PS3. I didn't buy an Xbox One. I kind of gave up on Xbox after the Red Ring of Death fiasco. But I had a PS3. I got a Nintendo Switch. I have an Xbox Series X. I got a PS5. I have a PS Vita. I had a PSP. I had a Game Boy Advance, Game Boy DS, 3DS, 3DS XL, like everything I could get my grubby little hands off. Then I went to work at GameStop, which was called EB Games back at the time, so I could get the discount and feed my habit more. It was like it would be cheaper for me to actually do cocaine.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that paycheck, that paycheck at that job went straight into video gaming, and I had a pretty large collection. I ended up getting rid of my Nintendo and Super Nintendo when my kid was born because we were a little bit strapped for cash, and some of those games were valuable. Like I had Chrono Trigger, Illusion of Gaia, Secret of Evermore, Secret of Mana, and like all the classic RPGs.
Oh, I mean, boy.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes, though.
Yeah,
for sure.
I forgot that my brother actually owned some of them too, so he's still pissed at me for that. But he was never playing them, and plus we got emulation nowadays. Like I got the SNES Classic, I can play all those games on.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Anyways, wait, what was your first game that you played? That you kind of skipped over that. You said Atari. But
I have no idea.
You don't have any memories that stand out?
There was Missile Command, there was Asteroids, and I think Centipede were the 3 games that they had, and I don't remember which one I played first. But like the Atari 50 collection makes me just, age down and become an infant again. I sit in front of the TV playing those games.
Those are some great games as well, though.
They were. They've
just got
simple
infinite
fun.
Appeal.
Yeah. I'd say my biggest thing about video gaming was my hatred for online gaming, which I've developed because mid 2000s, me, my now wife, who I got into video gaming, and all my friends in my little gaming community, we bought 360s and a game called Rainbow Six Vegas 2, and we play online for 8 hours a day after work, pretty much daily. And it was an obsession, and I got really good at that game. And then all of a sudden, the one douchebag who happened to be my roommate at the time decided to get angry at my now wife, who was then my girlfriend, and she quit online gaming. And about a week later, I just finally got sick of it because it just turned into that like toxic community where you're always angry. So ever since then, I've had a problem playing like online competitive games, like co-op games with friends I can do. Just online competitive, I just absolutely no. I just hate everybody who plays video games online because it just feels like they're always going to be a jackass.
Yeah, I agree
And
with
I say that while you come listen to Retrotopia. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
just
different,
sit
though.
quietly in the corner.
Yeah. I think my
That's
current
different when
problem
you're.
with no, go ahead, Sam.
Oh, well, it's just when you're playing like online shooters, like people get like real. I don't know, like just it
People
just
are overly
awakens.
competitive.
Yeah, it's just that overly competitive bullshit. Like, I mean, it's still just a game, but
Yeah,
people.
it's not life and death. I mean, I get it. There's online leagues now and stuff like that, but if you're playing for fun, you're not. Don't yell at a kid because the kid accidentally drops a grenade and kills his team. He's a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
not
that kid
not
better
for
not.
me.
That kid better also better not
Be a dick. Yeah,
tell you that they're gonna do things to your mom or whatever. Like,
yeah. Nobody touches my mom but me.
yeah. Oh,
But
Thanks for listening, guys.
yeah, all right.
Play us
But
out.
yeah. So just to wrap things up here before I get myself into too much trouble. Current video games, I play pretty much everything I can get my grubby little hands on, and these online services have made me have one of the biggest problems of having too much to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now the show is kind of organizing me so I can go back to games. And Sam, you've given me some good Sega games I can play that I haven't played before. Like Fantasy Star was absolutely fantastic for its
Hell
time.
yeah.
It does have some problems in today's scope,
Yeah.
but I'm now excited to actually play more Fantasy Star. Whereas I probably would have never touched the game if I never talked to you.
Yeah. Shining Force too, right?
I'm
Not as
interested in
much
Shining Force 2 because people have said that is the better game, but Shining Force 1, I think it just stepped on its toes too much.
I've still never played those games. I need to get around to
Fucking
that.
love that game.
All right, yeah. So that is it. That is all of us, man. That means I don't know. We can now just yell at each other. We know our histories.
Yeah, what are we playing? I know we got other topics to get to, but what are we all playing right now?
Yeah,
What do we
me.
got?
God, I just finished 1,000 Year Door, and I'm in that. That after you finish a game, you've been dedicating yourself to, and this might only apply to me and you, Sam, because Alan seems to have it figured out.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah, when you get into that lull there, where you turn on every video game and nothing just hits you right, and you just like, I don't really feel like playing right now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
where I'm currently sitting.
that's where I'm trying to get better at. Like, if I'm not feeling something, just walk away for a bit and do something else. But I do need to like sometimes get over that in the other direction where I just need to pick something because either we have to do something for the show or you want to get ahead a little bit, but not that it's supposed to feel like a chore, but
No,
I'm trying to
or
manage that feeling in myself, for myself too.
yeah, games for the show is a different topic, but games for just like I always try to have one game on the go for my relaxation, and right now I'm
Yeah.
just in between games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, my game for myself is books. Like,
Books, yeah,
try-
I started reading again. That's
yeah.
how like little interest I have to play the next video game.
Yeah.
See, no,
But
I mean, I do have a system where it comes to
yes,
things like
it's the
that.
Mega Drive. You've mentioned it already. Quit bragging.
Yeah. You've got
Fast
all of the
processing. I have
systems.
all of the systems. No, I generally I'll play the big game that I want to play, and then if I do
Mhm.
ever find myself in one of those lulls, I generally just pick the next game in the collection alphabetically. Is what I've
See,
been
that's a
doing
good
recently.
system.
I mean,
That
it's a
is a good
little bit
system.
okay, weird, but it just saves on that uh, indecision.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem I have with that is everything's like a downloadable game now. So the next game in the alphabetical list is just a mishmash of games I have sitting on basically a spreadsheet that is the PlayStation or the Xbox.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's a little
So
easier to actually look at a shelf or, you know,
Yeah.
just grab
That's why I was
something.
going to say I was going there with that. That's where I like having a physical collection instead of
Yeah.
yeah, I
sometimes
haven't.
those online libraries get jumbled.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
true
haven't
enough.
bought a physical game for the Xbox or the PS5. Actually, I don't think I bought a physical game since halfway through the PS4's life cycle for any system except the Switch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm I'm a crow or something in another life because I like to have the shiny thing. Like,
Yeah.
this is mine.
Oh,
But
I do too, but I don't like the prices of retro games right
fair,
now.
absolutely fair.
They're getting pretty out of control.
I mean,
You get some stinkers if you just play the next. Didn't you just pop something in a couple weeks ago and you're like, oh, this is dog shit, I can't even play it?
Oh, I love that because
was.
like not even an hour later, it's like, and I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I actually finished it. Yeah, that was Another World on the Mega Drive.
Okay. There was an Alien game. Did you say the Alien game was pretty bad? There was like a shooter, an Alien shooter for the
so no,
PlayStation.
I'm still currently playing that. It's
Are you
Alien.
really?
Yeah, Alien Trilogy on the PS. You know me, Sam. I don't leave a game unfinished.
Oh man,
Uh,
I thought you were like, no, this is garbage, and I'm
no,
not going to play
I
it.
was done for the night. Yeah, you know
Oh,
when you get to that
I
point, it's just like
misunderstood.
I've done that
Oh yeah.
level. I'm not going to go into another one just yet. But yeah, Alien Trilogy on the PS1. It's almost a Doom clone, but without the
Enjoyment
movement.
of Doom.
Well,
Without it being fun.
yeah. Well, in essence, I mean,
Yeah.
Doom is very quick and slick, and you just go, you just
Yeah.
move, and this is very slow and ponderous, and it's just like there's fucking aliens everywhere, and it's just like I can't turn around and fight you. So that's been a lot of fun. Baldur's Gate 2, I've been playing as well on the Switch, and that has genuinely been fun, but that's a slow burner. That's one that I'm sort of dipping in and out of because that's like 100 hours long. So little here, little there, and
Yeah, that's a good strategy. That's what I kind of like for my just random game on the go is something that will take a while that I can sit down and pick up again. I'm looking deeply at Chrono Cross because I bought that now on two systems and I
Mm-hmm.
haven't replayed it since I bought it on the PS1. So
yeah, I need to play that. I mean, I'm playing obviously Chrono Trigger at the moment, and I'll save my
Glorious.
thoughts. I'll save my thoughts on Chrono Trigger for an upcoming episode, but it is absolutely fantastic and perfect, and maybe one of the greatest games ever made. So that's been a lot
maybe.
of fun. Yeah, I've got to save something for the episode, haven't I?
And that's
Yeah,
enough from
that's
Alan. And let's mute his mic now.
yeah.
And what else have I got going on? Oh, Axiom Verge.
Yeah,
Oh
you
yeah.
posted that in the Discord.
Very interested in that.
It's fucking brilliant. It's if you like Metroidvanias, it's a no-brainer.
That's a shame you're not a streamer because with your dedication to playing games, I mean, you could probably make a good, tidy streaming channel on Twitch.
I thought
Yeah.
about it, but there's so many cables and leads and capture card stuff. I just don't understand any of it. And it's kind of my way of escaping from the world rather than
Yeah, that's
interacting
true.
with it.
See, that's a really good point. And somebody asked me once, like when I was in the military, why I don't like military-centric movies like Fury or 1917 or whatever those movies are. And it's because I lived that life in a way. I don't want to be at home, and that's not how I entertain myself is by watching that life.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad worked in the medical field when I was growing up, and it's like ER was like the hottest show of the 90s or whatever, and he's just like, I'm not going to watch it. That's too close to what I do every day.
I
Yeah.
agree. I still work in the medical field, and
Yeah.
with the exception of things like Scrubs and I liked
Well,
House.
Scrubs was the mash of its generation because it did that same
Yes.
drama with comedy.
Yeah,
Dramedy.
that's true. Dramedy.
God, I love MASH.
MASH was great. Actually,
Yeah.
there is one military show I watch, and it's because we watch it when I was in training, and it's called Tour of Duty, and it's from like the 70s.
Duty.
Yeah,
Duty.
but it's about like a squad in Vietnam there, and it follows their story where they're going through the jungle, and they go from this basically a squad that almost gets blown up to the special forces by the end of the series. It was really good.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the only one I'll watch. That and Band of Brothers, only because I hate David Schwimmer, and I love to see him get his comeuppance.
Oh God,
I've never seen that, but I might have to check that out because that sounds
that's a
deeply,
great show.
deeply satisfying.
Oh, I got to go through what I'm playing.
Oh yeah, video games. That's
yeah.
one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, I finished also Thousand Year Door, and then right after that, I finished plugging away at Chrono Trigger, and they were both, one was good and one is fantastic, and I will not spoil it which one is which.
Yeah, because Thousand Year Door is coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just Chrono Trigger was just kind of playing ahead. Plus, I got it on the DS, and that is just such a great way to play it.
Oh, it's the
That is
only
the way to play it nowadays. If you
Yep.
have the
Yeah,
ability, yeah.
It's the only way
it
we got it
was.
over here.
Yeah,
Really?
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
you poor deprived animals. You also have it on cell phones and Steam though. So you're
Well,
lying
Right.
to
Well,
me.
now,
not when I was a kid, and I
right. Like,
certainly not when it came out on the DS.
Well, from our initial discussion, you guys were kids like 2 weeks ago, so I
wow.
think you did.
Well, no,
You
he's
got me
saying you
there.
never got it. So in the UK, you never got Chrono Trigger
No,
Nope.
on the Super Nintendo.
Nope.
Bummer,
First time
man.
I
it's
played it, I had to emulate.
yeah, it's kind of
Wow.
like how we didn't get Terra Enigma, the third game in the Souls trilogy, the one that comes after
Yeah.
Illusion of Gaia. I
Yeah.
didn't learn about that game until the pandemic.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like all the games that we didn't get versus, games that other regions got and all that is always fascinating to me. Maybe that's another topic for another day.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I've started playing, well, I've been playing a little bit of Super Mario Brothers 3. I chose to play it on the Game Boy Advance version, the whatever um they had that series of Super Mario games that were
Mm.
like redone for the Game Boy Advance. I think it's a really great way to play it, honestly, because you've got not save states, but every time you beat one of the castles, either the kind of the mid castle or the main castle, you can save the game. And I really think that Super Mario Brothers 3 in its original form could have done with a save system.
God, yeah.
Would have made that
Yeah.
game much better. Otherwise, it's way too long.
Yeah.
If not a save system, at least like a password system. Bare
Or
minimum,
yeah,
a password system.
Mhm.
yeah, a password system would have been cool. But that's been fine. We'll save my thoughts on that one. And then I started playing. Danny over at Retro Wars was going to cover Dragon Quest 3, and I volunteered to play that one. So that's on the Steam Deck because he insisted that I emulate the Super Nintendo version that has like the fan translation. So I found a fan translated, like modified ROM, and playing it that way because that's the way he would prefer that I play it. Even though I do have I have it on Switch, but it's been fine so far. But yeah, there must be something to it that I think he said like dialogue wise or something. He preferred it that way. So I'm gonna play the same
Interesting.
version. So we're talking about the same thing.
Makes
That
sense.
works. I never let Danny from Retro Wars tell me how to play my video games.
Yeah, I suppose I can just been like, no, I'm gonna play the way. Actually, I didn't realize Dragon Quest 3 came out on the NES first,
Yeah,
and then and then they remade it for the Super Nintendo, and that's like the Super Nintendo one is technically like a remake of the. Maybe that's the first remake.
maybe.
Maybe.
But there's a couple of games like that, especially when you get to the crossover of consoles there, where they start making them for both consoles.
Oh
Yeah.
right, yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if that applies to that one or if it was just such a popular game. Because in Japan, they would actually, like, I not book a holiday, but like the
yeah,
work productivity would dive every time a Dragon Quest game came out.
Really?
right,
Oh, it
yeah.
was so popular over there.
I've
It
never
would like
played
close
any of
down
them.
the. Yeah, you
It would
haven't?
just,
They're
No.
good.
yeah, a good classic RPG by the Enix half of Square Enix or Enix, depending on how you say it.
Yeah, and then
I always said
eventually the
Enix.
art. Yeah, I've said Enix too, but maybe it's Enix. I don't know.
Again,
Enix,
depends who you
Enix,
talk to.
Square or Square. I mean,
Hey,
I don't
Square.
know.
Oh, god damn it. It was another game we didn't get over here.
Oh, Dragon Quest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
think we
now
got it here either. Like,
we
not
got
the
Dragon Warrior. We didn't get
yeah,
the cool like Akira Toriyama like artwork Dragon Quest. We got like Dragon
no.
Warrior.
Yeah, no, it's Dragon Warrior. Yeah, we didn't get either of the first two. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but that sucks.
We didn't get Dragon Quest 1 and then
no.
2 and then 3.
We had Dragon Warrior and Dragon Warrior 2, but I don't think. Yeah, I can't see us getting Dragon.
I
No,
thought
it
we got
says.
I think we got 3 on the NES, but then like
Yeah,
once
we
it
did get 3 on the NES. Sorry, yeah,
once it
here it
made the
is.
jump to Super Nintendo, we didn't get like 4 and 5. And 4 and 5 for sure were the ones that like shut down Japan when they came out.
Yeah,
People were
and
like, I need to not work for the next couple days so I can play this game.
yeah, and I totally agree with that concept. The entire world should shut down for new video games that are popular.
Hell yeah.
Agreed.
Actually, we should just shut down the world and let AI take over like it's supposed to.
Yeah, and then we can just play video games all day and
Yeah.
and
Grow
no,
fat,
it
just
won't
like
turn into a
Wally.
yeah, it won't turn into a Ready Player One dystopia. Don't worry.
Oh, absolutely will, and I would love every minute of it. Live in a
Yeah, as long
virtual
as
world where you can go to any planet. Come on.
yeah, that actually would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
First stop, Uranus.
Oh yeah.
Then we log in.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, that reminds me of you ever? Oh, you've played Mass Effect. I can't remember which game it is.
I haven't.
No.
Oh, neither of us have.
Have you not?
No.
Oh,
It's on my list of I have a list of games that I want to get to before I die, but the dying part's coming rapidly, and I haven't got to these games
You
yet.
need to get
And
the Mass Effect
Jesus.
game.
Mass
No, it's
Effect's
not.
trilogy is on that list. Well, at the rate I'm going, dying seems to be the one that'll come first.
Don't do that.
No,
I mean, people
just
who've
from a
played,
gaming perspective, at least.
people who've played
Well,
Mass
I'm
Effect
talking
will know
about
what
like when I'm
talking about.
150.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's why we just have so many games that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of what I was going at, but I think I really bombed that analogy.
Yeah, it made it sound like you're
Yeah.
like, I'm planning on dying tomorrow.
Yes.
Please don't do
No,
that.
yeah. If you get a whole bunch of passwords from me, don't ask questions.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Anyways, what about moving on to video game tropes? That would be our soft topic of the week or the month.
Soft
I don't know how
topic.
long.
Maybe it's a hard topic. Gets
Well,
us hard.
depends on how it goes. Again, this is the inaugural episode, so we're still figuring it out as we go along. But yeah,
We've been
I
going for
picked
an hour
video.
now, and I still don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. But I picked this one because I was playing Far Cry 3, and one of the things I kind of noticed in the game was you have these outposts you have to take over. And the first one, you get kind of a team to help you take over the outpost that as it's a bit of a tutorial. After that, you take out every outpost on your own. There's something like 20 of them. So you take out 20 outposts by yourself, and then the jackass NPCs show up after. And there's this one guy always shows up with the same clip. Oh, we're not going to give this place up now. And he acts like he was part of the, effort to take it over. When reality was he did absolutely fucking nothing but show up after. And I was just like, this happens in a lot of games. This is a trope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because the one man army thing is like very popular. Obviously, they want you to do the hero's journey, so you have to be the hero. And
Right.
yeah, so we talked about it when we started talking about this show. And I thought talking about our favorite or least favorite video game tropes would be a great topic. So that's mine.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I just played Horizon Zero Dawn for the first time recently, and taking over those bandit camps is like a lot of the same type of concept where it's like, I'm gonna just storm this fortress, this well fortified, well manned fortress. I'm just gonna walk right in the front door and
Yeah.
and kill everyone. And then people show up and turn it into like a little town. It's like, oh
Yeah. And they're all
could have used
cocky
your
about
help.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have used your help.
But the thing is, you say that though, but
I wouldn't want their help.
Exactly. Can you imagine most NPCs while you're trying to stealth your way through a base picking off?
That's actually very true because in Far Cry 3, I use a sniper rifle and I pick people off from a distance.
Far Cry 3 is amazing, by the way, but
yeah,
I can't. I think you can summon animals in that one to help you out. Am I right?
If you can, I never got that ability because I never found use for it.
Maybe I'm thinking
awesome.
of 4. But either way, it's just like if you're meticulously working your way through this base to try and silently take out guards and what have you, do you really want I don't know, say Lydia from Skyrim, just
like an army of Natalias.
Oh fuck!
That's guys. I'm out. It's been fun.
I think
Although,
developers should be
yeah,
very cognitive of what the NPCs say afterwards, because if you take out 15 people on your own with a sniper rifle on a hill, and you take over a base, and the first guy comes in goes, "I was really hard to take over," and then you might end up hating your allies. I kept
yeah,
shooting that guy in the head.
yeah, they should have like an option where he's like, "Hey, good job.
Thanks, buddy.
That's all you
did
need to
great.
say. Just a little appreciation, damn it."
Yeah, you took it over. We'll keep it. That's all you got to say.
I mean, he's already an NPC, so I hate him anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair point. No, any tropes you guys have in video games there that you can really, I guess, think of off the top of your head that you like or hate or just want to talk about?
I would say leveling up. That one's jumping off the page at me right now because I've just played 2 really well crafted RPGs in a row in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door and Chrono Trigger that basically required 0 grinding. Like I think the course of the game, you level up enough that you don't need to like just sit and fight enemies. And I think that's the mark of a good RPG. I think a really, really good RPG. I don't mind grinding, but it's just been such a weird kind of like sea change to sit down and play Dragon Quest 3, where you most definitely, it's the thing where it's like, you are armed with a stick. Go out there and good luck. Like
fight God.
Grind for experience and gold until you're just strong enough to cross the bridge, and then upgrade your weapons, rinse and repeat. Like that sort of I guess mechanic is just really outdated, but I still
Breath of Fire 2 was terrible for that, because at the beginning of the game I had to grind for 2 hours just to be able to get to the first mountain.
Yeah, isn't that nuts? Like I played the first Breath of Fire, and it's just the same thing where it's like you start with dagger and that's all you have and no allies, and you're really fucked if you stray too far from the main town.
No, a game gets in its own ways the second you have to grind to do anything. As long as you halt forward progression, that's where a game starts bothering me. Like Thousand Year Door, you're gonna hear this, but there's a point where you have to go find somebody, and it really fucks itself at that moment.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna save that for the Thousand Year Door episode.
Yeah, at least Thousand Year Door didn't have any sort of like difficulty spikes that were insurmountable because like you weren't high enough level. Like Final Fantasy 3 was a good example of that, right? We got to the last dungeon of the game and we're consistently progressing and kicking ass, and then all of a sudden you go to this last portion of the game and it's like, oh, you need to stop at this point and go up 10 levels. That kind of stuff is the mark of we gave that game a good review, but still, like, that's not a well-balanced game at that point.
No, I think
so. Yeah,
I don't mind a bit of grinding, but grinding should never feel necessary to complete at least the base game. Now, if you want to go and do super bosses, extra dungeons, and things like that, if you want a bit
super
of extra
bosses don't count because super bosses are meant to be difficult.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Omega and Ruby Weapon or whatever.
But I like having the option to grind to do that sort of stuff rather than it being necessary to just complete the base game.
Yeah, and some games do it really well where they'll throw some side quests at you, and then if you hit a kind of a wall, you can go do a couple of side quests, which usually are entertaining little stories, come back, and you're ready to carry on. Like, those games do it well.
Yeah.
I guess Skyrim would be kind of one of those games if you think about it, because you could run through the main story, but everything that distracts you every 5 steps really helps you get to the end game.
Definitely.
Yeah. What was it? Horizon. I mean, I just mentioned that before, but that was another good game for that, where you just like open up your menu. It's like, okay, who have I talked to that has like little side questy shit to do so that I don't have to, I don't know, go fight a giant robot T-Rex right now.
Yeah. As long as the grinding's fun, then
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, are you the type of guy who activates every quest when you see them, or do you save them to be activated later?
I activate them as soon as I see that little like exclamation mark. I just activate it and then have it in the quest log, and then I just open the quest log when I need something to do.
Big time.
Perfect.
Sounds like maybe you're opposite. Oh no. Okay, maybe not.
And special shout out to Final Fantasy VIII for absolutely fucking you over for leveling up.
Oh my god, I like that game, but man, I still haven't finished it to this day. And I had it when it first came out. That was my first console JRPG experience was
Yeah,
Final Fantasy VIII,
same.
and
I locked myself in. I think it's a fight at the beginning of one of the discs with I want to say Sorceress Adele.
Yep.
And if you're not leveled, or I say if you're not leveled, if you're not built right,
Yeah,
because
like your loadout.
leveling is just going to screw you over. I'm pretty sure that killed my first ever playthrough.
What killed it for me was the magic system, having to draw magic out all the time. Your grinding was more just absorbing magic to build up a surplus.
Absolutely.
But then the way that you junction it to your stats and stuff is what makes it so that you actually don't have to level. Like junctioning, to your attack and like your defense.
Which
that game
really
is fascinating,
clever.
but yeah, you need to fucking go to school for that game.
The game does
to learn how to play it.
Shit job of explaining
and
that
then
to you.
And then someone who's really good at that game is like, "Oh, it's easy. All you have to do is,
Oh, wait, you don't like spending like 14 hours setting your character up to move 5 minutes forward? God.
We do have to play that. I do like that game.
I got to play it again.
I'm not going to shit on it. It's a good game.
It's my first Final Fantasy, so.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's not one of my even close to the top of my list of favorite Final Fantasy games, but I still remember getting the demo disc for that in the Brave Fencer Musashi case, and I actually had high hopes for it because it looked gorgeous.
It has one of the greatest intros in history.
Yeah,
if you know, you know.
Yeah, that cutscene. The cutscenes were great.
Well,
it does have that kind of GoldenEye look with like the character models. They are kind of blocky, but I do appreciate that it looked better than like the Final Fantasy VII little weird ball people.
Yeah. Lego dudes.
Yeah.
But moving on to some more tropes there. I got another one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the list here. Escort missions.
Oh, fuck.
Useless people in escort missions, or there's good people. It seems like there's no in between. And the other one would be following people in video games.
Oh, no.
Follow this guy to get from point A to point B, said the Assassin's Creed game. Well, if you walk, you're going too slow. If you run, you're going too fast. And the whole time the guy is talking, and if you get too far from him, you fail this imaginary mission.
I don't like anything involved with having someone follow you or having to follow anyone. I really dislike it.
I will debate that.
Ghost of Tsushima did it right because the NPC adjusted their speed to you as opposed to the opposite way.
Genius.
I know, right? Like,
what was that?
That was me trying to drink water and making my head exploding sound.
Oh, well, I mean, it sounded weird. If that's what you're going for.
I have headphones on, so I can't really hear myself, so everything sounds weird to me.
I thought it finally caught up to Brian. You know, I thought his prophecy had come true.
Oh, no.
Sam, here's some passwords. Prepare to copy.
Oh, no.
No.
But Alan, you said you were going to debate. You like the escort mission?
No. If I'm going to defend any escort mission, it is the game encompassing escort mission that is BioShock Infinite.
Oh, that is the perfect example of what to do.
That is the single greatest escort mission in the history of gaming, as far as I'm concerned, and I will follow Elizabeth into hell itself.
Oh, yeah, because she's going to find you ammo and money the whole way down.
Absolutely fantastic. Never gets in the way. You could be in the middle of... Sam, you can't shoot her. As far as I remember.
Thank fuck. She doesn't jump in front of your bullets?
No, that's the best part. When you get...
Go on.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. No.
Well, let's just say, in the middle of a gunfight, she will be actively looking for ammo and health for you to throw to you in the middle. So if you're running out, she will chuck ammo at you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I have no basis for this theory, but I think when you start into a section where you're into a firefight, I think the actual NPC that is Elizabeth just like teleports behind cover or something, and then every so often will be like, hey, Booker, ammo, and then throw you the ammo.
Yeah.
I don't think like the NPC runs around at all.
No,
I think it just the game gets rid of her, then puts her in a spot where she can just find stuff.
So I will revisit
awesome.
my earlier point about hating all NPCs. Elizabeth doesn't count.
No, she doesn't. She's not an NPC. She's an MP legend.
She's incredible. And honestly, I absolutely fucking love that game. I've
never played one.
I might prefer it to the first one.
No, that's right. Like BioShock is right in that era where I wasn't playing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. See, I played BioShock. I played BioShock and BioShock 2 once each. I played BioShock Infinite about 10 times.
It's so good.
Wow.
Way better, and it's such a gorgeous game.
Absolutely.
Oh man, you're like floating up on that sky world there, and you got all the bright lights and stuff like that, and the sunbeams coming down. It's just like this gorgeous world.
Quartet singing.
Yeah.
Oh, what are they singing? God only knows what I'd be without you. That's the one.
Oh yeah. Beach Boys.
That's it. It's just gorgeous.
The rampant racism in that game, though. I mean, they're really making you want to hate the people up there, and they do a good job right off the bat.
Well, that's just it. It's just one of those, like, everything's perfect, but just peel back the skin just a little bit, and you can just see how corrupt and
not just corrupt, but they're kind of stuck in an America that is long gone these days. So I wouldn't say long gone, but I say highly changed.
Yeah,
because these are people who probably lost their slaves and are bitter about it.
Yeah, could be.
Like, to describe the game honestly, because they constantly talk about the Negro problem in the game, which is what makes you really hate them, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, this is not, all appearances to the contrary, this is not a nice place.
No. But it seems nice because it's very gorgeous.
Exactly, but it is in fact uglier than Rapture.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But I still say BioShock. Actually, God, which one had the best twist?
Oh, well, we can't go into too much detail, obviously.
No, but
one of us hasn't played one.
Yeah,
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Infinite.
Are you?
Yeah, because
I'm kind of on the fence because both of them were so good.
They were so good, but again, I'm going to be very careful about what I say, but I thought about the ending to BioShock Infinite for far, far longer.
Like, no, you make a good point on that one.
It really sort of got under my skin in a good way. Well,
do you want another good way, or at least good news? I read today that they're mass hiring to get BioShock 4 off the ground.
I saw that, which is why it's sort of in the front of my brain. And
I hope they pick another locale that was more like Infinite. And I know a lot of people complain about Infinite because they say it was dumbed down for the masses, but you got to think they want to make money and bring their vision to a lot of people. So you dumbing it down a little bit, it's not a bad thing.
See, I disagree. Like, I think a lot of people's complaints were that they just didn't understand the ending. They said it was dumbed down, but I don't think people got it.
Maybe it hit a little close to home for some people.
Yeah, maybe.
Sometimes there's stuff that you just don't want to, face, and it's tough. But if it's racism or systemic racism, tough tits. You need to face it.
Yeah,
yeah. Let's break away from this very hot topic, and I'll ask you guys a question.
Too hot.
Yeah. Do you prefer having lives and continues or infinite continues but go back to the last save point? So first one like Mario Brothers or Castlevania, and the second one more like The Messenger and Celeste.
Definitely the latter.
It's gotta be, isn't it?
We are in a post lives and continues world, I think.
Just get me back into the gameplay.
Yeah, get me back to where I was. That's part of the problem when you're playing a retro game without save states, right? I mean, you want to get to a point where you can get the reps in and get good at a part, but you can't necessarily do that if you've only got like 2 lives and maybe a continue, and then you've got to start the whole damn thing over again.
Yeah,
we just don't have that kind of time anymore.
Well, it's that. Yeah. It's like, well, I've done this section 10 times now. I know I can do this section. This section is not the problem. It's that bit I keep dying on, but I have to go through this to get to that. And it's just like, well, just let me do that bit.
Yeah, that's just not how we play anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you're running out of health to get to that bit that you need to figure out how to pass constantly, yeah, that's usually my problem.
Yeah.
No, I am on board with you guys. I absolutely hate the live system, antiquated from the old arcade style video game. It was great back in the 90s when you had to switch with your brother, because being a younger brother, the live system is what let me play video games more often.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Nowadays, yeah, if the game has lives, I tend to knock a few points off whether I'm going to finish it or not.
I mean, it's never a deal breaker
yeah.
for me, but I suppose it depends on how difficult the game is versus how good the checkpoints are.
Well, like Celeste is insanely difficult, but you go back to the beginning of the screen and you can try it infinite amount of times, and it just counts how many times you died.
Yeah, true. I mean, I need to get back into that, actually. I started that game. Beautiful, beautiful game.
Oh, gorgeous. Another beautiful Canadian created game.
Canadians.
You're making such great stuff up there.
You know what's good.
We do. We know it's good for the world. That's why we constantly bark like a dog, but, whimper away when anything serious happens. Canada. But that's too political. All right. Any more tropes you guys want to talk about?
I had one come up a couple of times, and it's the first thing that jumped into my mind because a couple of the games I've played recently has had quite an interesting trope, which is the I call it the OP rookie, and this is any game where your character is sort of the faceless addition to an already established team. Think Halo Reach or something like that. It's just like you have a team that's already there, and you are the new guy, and at that point, you're pretty much guaranteed that the rest of that team are going to die. And you are going to carry this entire... I suppose it's the one-man army again, but it's...
Kind of.
Yeah.
But
Any game that I played a couple of Alien games with the Marines and what have you, it's just like, okay, well, you're new to this team, so, this is the tough guy, this is the tech guy and everything. And you just think, you are all going to die by the time the game is over. And somehow, inexplicably, the plot armor is going to carry me through this. And
I love that trope as well, for the fact that you're the most inexperienced guy, wet behind the ears. You're just out of basic training there. You're walking into Call of Duty, and not even 5 minutes later, you're like guns akimbo, blowing away a horde of friggin' enemy soldiers.
Yeah.
It's just like, where did this guy come from?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, the dialogue is always like, "Okay, rookie, let me show you the ropes." And
yeah, you have to beat this obstacle course in under a certain time to be part of our team. 2 minutes later, all right, you must save the world from the nuclear bomb. You're the only one.
Yeah, let's go get the terrorists now.
It's just like we're going to go elsewhere for a while. We might communicate over radio, and then come back towards the end of the game to just die. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I got a question again for you guys. Moral choices. I remember we were talking about this earlier, where I think we all said we like to be the good guy, even when we try to be the bad guy in the moral choices. We tend to lean towards the light side, if you would. Have you ever actively just tried to be a dick in a video game and just failed because it's not you as a person?
Yes. KOTOR.
Yeah.
KOTOR. I couldn't do it. Fable. I wanted so bad to be like the dark side in KOTOR, and I just... turns out you have to do things that were much more awful than what I was doing. I was like keeping extra money and like saying mean things to certain characters. It's like, oh no, you have to kill members of your own party. It's like, I'm just not going to do that.
You would just be
what do you mean,
a
all
bit
these
of a dick.
Yeah, all these ketchup packets I stole from the cafeteria don't count? Well, fuck.
Yeah, like I just like took an item and didn't pay for it, stuff like that. Like, but through my other bigger actions to advance the story, like I ended up like even more light side than when I started. So I was like, well, fucking whatever.
Well, even when it doesn't matter in a video game, like you have a dialogue tree there and you have the answer like yes, oh, what do you think, or like something snarky, I'll still pick the polite answer. And I think that's just the way I was raised, is not to be rude to somebody for absolutely no reason.
And I think
Canadian.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, it's an option. I'm sorry.
But in games too, like you are rewarded a lot of times for doing the quote unquote right thing or like the kind thing. Like there's a side quest in Chrono Trigger where you give someone an item and they offer to pay you a good sum of money for it, and you're supposed to give it to them for free. And there's a point in Paper Mario where you pay someone for some information and they're like, well, would you really give me all of your money? And I kept saying like, yeah, why not? Like in Paper Mario, it's like, fuck if I care about all these coins. And he ends up giving you whatever you want plus all your money back. It's like you are basically, for the most part, rewarded for doing those types of things in games.
Which goes with the theory that it's the assholes of the world who don't play video games.
Yeah. Who knows if that's universally true, but
no. I think you find that in a lot of these games with the moral choice system, like your immediate gains for being a dick are fairly substantial. So playing something like KOTOR,
yes,
you'll end up with a lot more money.
Right.
But the rewards for going quote unquote light side tend to be grander and happen later on. It's like perhaps the greatest moral choice system in computer game history, Mass Effect, of course. You tend to find that going the Paragon route tends to open up more options to get better endings for the story later, rather than the immediate games you get from just like shaking people down and punching them in the face.
Well, if you're wiping out half your crew, I mean, the ending at the end of the game is going to be just you standing there going, "Where is everybody?"
Which does happen.
Yeah.
And the thing is, because the moral choice system carries across all three games, if you do that in one of the games, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot for the next two games.
That to me is incredible. The fact that those games carried over like that. Doesn't Golden Sun do that too? Like that's just that's amazing. And then one of those Zelda games on the Game Boy Color.
Oracle of Ages and Seasons.
Yes,
great games.
That's such a cool concept. I love it.
But this is just so good in so much that even just little conversations you have with side characters can come back in the second one, in the third one, and their stories continue as well. Whereas if you just tell them to fuck off in the first game, you'll never see them again.
God, I can't even wrap my head around how fucking complicated that must have been to set up.
The dialogue tree must be like 40 miles wide.
It's so good.
Man, that's so complex.
Especially
and
when
well
you get
crafted,
the things like especially when you get the things like the action at the beginning of the game can affect like three other things throughout the game.
Yeah.
Right.
And then those three other things can also affect other things. And then, it's like I told two friends and they told two friends and then they told two friends and it just balloons.
You know what game had a really fun like moral system or like decision system? It was Triangle Strategy. I don't know if either of you played that.
No, I played a bit of the demo, but I didn't have time to sit down for 30-minute strategy battles.
So I got so into the weeds on that game. That game is phenomenal. But like, you would have conferences with all of the characters in your party, and then they would have their own opinions, and you could talk to them and use conversation trees to sway their decisions. And then your characters would vote for like, or do we go east or west, or do we go help this person or this person, whatever your group was going to do next. And you had to abide by their decision basically. So if you didn't pick the right, conversations to like sway their decisions enough, like you might end up doing something you don't agree with, which was kind of a weird little like twist to it. But I really enjoy that game.
That's really
and then once you get to New Game Plus, it opens everything up.
Cool.
Well, there you go. But it's actually quite interesting. I mean, again, it's one of those things where you probably spend more time in the preparation than you do actually programming the game.
There is a lot of decision tree and dialogue, like strategy sessions in between your battles in that game too.
Oh,
but it's a great game.
I haven't played a strategy game in years.
Oh man, I think one of the ogre battles was the last one I played. It's been quite a while.
I've got that one on the Switch. That's coming up.
I mean, I played the tactics games, Final Fantasy Tactics.
I played every one but A2.
That's great. I mean, they're all brilliant, but that is fantastic.
You're a
I
fan
don't
of
know.
A2. A2 was on the DS, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'd love to get my hands on that one because like I enjoyed Chrono Trigger so much. I can't wait to play. I have the Advance Wars that's on the DS, Dual Strike, and then a couple of Fire Emblems. It's like that console, that little beautiful little piece of technology is just such a great way to play an RPG or like a strategy
Could
game.
not agree
Having
with you
those
more.
having those two screens.
Yep. Which is a pretty good innovation in gaming history.
I would say.
Well,
I'm
A2
really
is
hoping that.
affordable.
Yeah. Is it really?
Well, it's $83 Canadian, so what's that, like 13 cents American, and we
Well,
have to pay the Brits to take it?
I mean, that's probably loose, right?
Yeah, it's a loose game, but if you're looking just to play it, I mean, if you want the full meal deal, then yeah, you're
I
going to
mean,
pay for it.
it's about up there with Chrono Trigger, to be honest. Loose.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, it is. I full disclosure, I paid $90 for my loose copy of Chrono Trigger, which is
Oh, I guess on the
pretty
DS, yeah,
pricey.
sorry. I was
Yeah,
thinking
pretty.
the Super Nintendo's going for complete in
No,
box
God.
$769 right now,
Oh,
American.
yeah. No, that is insane. But I'm saying like Final Fantasy Tactics A2 and Chrono Trigger on the DS are probably about the same, worth about the same
Oh,
loose, I would think.
jeez. Chrono Trigger is £100 over here now. I definitely didn't pay that for it.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy,
I think I overpaid for mine, but it was. I would say I don't want to look back, and regret. I think it's the juice was worth the squeeze. That is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
the complete in box of A2 is going for $40 American, or at least priced at $40 American on pricecharting.com.
God damn, that's it. I gotta keep.
Yeah, I think over here it's about £38-40 boxed.
I'd love to keep my eye out for that. Then that
God, our
sounds like
money
a
is
good one.
worth
your
garbage
damn
here
eye
in
out.
Canada.
Your loonies and toonies don't stretch as far, do they?
Yeah, and they don't fit in G strings anymore either. And we have a robust sex industry in Quebec.
Oh wait, because you've gone to coins or
Yeah,
yeah.
inflation says you got to stuff a 5 in their G string there, but again, it's Quebec, so they don't wear any clothes, and I'm just fine by that.
All
All
right,
right,
speaking of going off topic.
yeah, way off topic, but I'm in my own little world right now, baby. But how do you guys like playing your video games? Handheld or through the TV? The Switch being obviously the best example since you can do both.
Oh, handheld for sure.
Like if you could have a PlayStation handheld, you would. Well, you can have a PlayStation handheld nowadays, but
Yeah,
if
I'm
all
not
your
gonna buy that
consoles
thing.
could be, yeah, if all your consoles could be handheld, you'd prefer that over the glorious of 4K high def surround sound TV.
I play mostly retro stuff, so I couldn't give a shit about like having it be huge on the TV and high def and all that. Just give me a little handheld to play.
Yeah, I mean, I agree in so much as I don't care what it looks like. I mean, 10 years ago or so, I probably would have said handheld, but now I'm not sure. I mean, I like sitting down on a sofa with a controller in my hand, watching the TV, something to drink, that sort of thing. I think it's just because I don't have as much time to play handheld. So
Yeah,
any time that I do, handheld games for me are what you do sort of on your commute or while you're at work or something like that. But when I get home,
while you're at work, hopefully
well,
the NHS isn't listening.
Yeah.
on my unpaid
Yeah.
lunch breaks and designated gaming time.
So we're talking to Charles, King of England, right now. In case anybody in Britain is listening.
Yes. Full disclosure, I have no idea what he sounds like.
I don't know. He sounds exactly like that. And once you become a king, once you put the crown on, you automatically sound like. Yes, quite.
Well, I've got the scepter stuffed up my ass again. Come here, I'll take it out, sir.
Bangers and mash in it. What are we talking about? Getting up and sitting on the sofa on the TV. It's I don't know, somehow the coziness of it. I don't know.
See, I like handheld for that same reason.
Yeah,
is I like that experience to be, compact, and I can sit wherever I want. I can lay in bed and play a video game, or I can sit on in the beagle's nest up here, or
or just
I don't
outside in
have
the
to.
garden, on a nice
Oh
day.
yeah, or just outside. Yeah, like a Game Boy Advance outside is perfect.
Yeah,
you can turn the backlighting off and just.
I mean, the Game Boy Advance is just perfect.
It is.
Yeah.
See, I'm gonna waffle on my answer. I'm kind of a 1A, 1B when it comes to this. Certain games, so it has to be specific games. RPGs, slower games like the Professor Layton series and stuff like that. I fucking love them on handhelds, like my 3DS, and then the ones that come out for the Switch and stuff like that. Bigger games like first-person shooters like Far Cry and all those games I play, I prefer to sit on the couch and stare at my 65-inch TV and play it that way, because I just find that the quintessential way to play that type of game, because it is very, the graphics are something to be, look at and be awe-inspired with. Retro games, take it or leave it. I have a handheld computer system now. I can play retro games on that, so I can either do it on my computer or I can do it on my handheld computer, the Asus Ally.
That's a good take, actually. I think it does depend on what you want to play. I mean,
it
again,
is.
I'm not bothered about HD, 4K, all of that stuff. It's just, I honestly can't tell the difference. But I think certain games do benefit from being on a bigger screen, especially for the level of detail that's put into the game, and especially if if you need to be able to see what's going on.
Yeah, the older the game, the less it matters. But new games like Final Fantasy Rebirth, I have to have that on a big screen because they put a lot of time into the details of that game.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to experience it. I want to experience the sound, like the quality surround sound and stuff like that, coming from quality speakers, not like a little tinny speaker on a handheld console that you get sometimes.
Yeah, I'd say it's twofold for me, right? Like I'd rather play a game like that, or like a shooter FPS, or like a modern game on a TV, but I don't prefer those games. And so for the games that I prefer to play, it's pretty much all handheld for me.
I think we can all agree that any retro RPG just needs to be handheld.
Yeah, it's a great way to play in retro RPG.
Yeah.
I mean, the pacing is a lot slower. Your menu picking everything. Like, why do you need to sit there and have it like all plastered on a gigantic ass TV? No, you can have that in front of you while you spend time with the family and ignore them on the same couch.
Yep, there you go.
It's like he's in my house.
I think this is a universal trait. Hey, what'd you do this weekend? Spend time with the family, which translates into played a lot of video games while she watched her stories.
That's fair.
No,
I feel seen. I feel represented.
You are represented. It's a global problem now. All this war and stuff that's happening, it's nothing compared to our problems of what game to play next.
Yeah.
Just go alphabetical.
Yeah, oh god.
End up with some stinkers, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I had a really bad comment in my mind, but I'm going to keep it to myself.
Fair.
Maybe for the best. We don't want to get canceled after our first episode.
No,
yeah,
not that anyone would cancel us, but
Yeah, let's keep it a little bit PC, I guess. No, it's time for the hook. I don't know. Maybe we should start getting sound bites and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can look into that later, though.
Yeah, someday.
That sounds like a whole thing.
That sounds.
It takes so much
like a
effort.
Brian problem.
Yeah, this is supposed to be an effortless podcast, and right now I'm having zero effort put into it. The hook of the whole show is the question that's going to be on the title is, what are some of the best innovations in gaming history according to you fellas? What are things in the video game world that you say, hey, this is what really made video games what they are?
Ooh.
I got a good sleeper one that no pun intended. Playing Chrono Trigger on the DS, that you have to actually like go find a save point and actually turn your console off. I think there's a way to do a sleep mode, but I didn't mess with it because I didn't want to mess anything up. But like the sleep mode is huge for
Yes.
yes, sleep mode and save states, I would say are two of them. But like not anything specific to the game itself, but just to have the technology to just be able to put something to sleep in a low power state and have it like just be able to wake up and be right where you left off has been incredible. I
No,
think that's
even with sleep mode, like on the modern consoles, I still go to a save point before I put it into sleep.
Oh, absolutely. But like just the fact that you can, like
Yeah.
just in a pinch, like if you need to, oh shit, I lost track of time, I got to go do this and I'm not anywhere near a save state, like you can put something into sleep mode, or like you're playing, just kind of fucking around with something and you want to just go do something else for a little bit and come back to it later. You just hit that power button and there you go,
The worst about that though is sometimes when you have a power bump or the console updates there and your sleep mode gets canceled.
Yeah. Which is
and you're
why
just
you
like,
save.
it's like
I've not
2
run into
hours of
that.
progress. Oh, I've plenty of times in my life that's happened to me.
I don't know. Maybe the sleep modes are better on like the PS5 and the Switch nowadays. But like even like I've got a PS5 and I've never even when it has had to do an update or something, like update the controller or do whatever, like I've never had any problems with.
Oh,
I
if
don't
it
think I've
updates
ever
the console.
used the sleep mode on a PS4 or a PS5.
Seriously?
You haven't?
No.
Oh man, I do it all the time.
I just
It's been in sleep mode since I touched it last, which was like a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
mine's still in sleep mode.
And I hate to be this guy, Sam, but the sleep mode on the DS for Chrono Trigger is just closing the DS.
Oh, you beat
Is
me
it really?
to it. I was
Like,
going to tell him that.
Yeah.
oh, like
well, I'm playing.
didn't
I'm
even
playing
know
it
if it
right
would.
now. It's starting.
Well,
yeah.
I didn't know if it would suck the battery like more than
Well,
if I wasn't able to get back to it until like the next day, I didn't want it to just be like closed and on for like a whole day.
I think it lasts like a couple of days depending on the quality of your battery still, but
Yeah.
I've closed my
Oh, shit.
DS about 3DS about 2 days ago and I just plugged it in tonight and it was still good to go.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, hey, well that'll be what I do for Crystal Chronicles, because I got that in there now because we're doing the old we're doing the old mother lover switcheroo with our RPGs.
Definitely. Oh, I'm looking forward to that one. That's gonna be
I've
gonna be
pulled
a
Crystal
fun episode.
Chronicles out of the case there. I think I'm going to start that too because I don't need to play Chrono Trigger again to talk about it. I've played that game so many goddamn times. I was when Sam was telling me where he was in the game, I was just like, I know what you're supposed to do next. Do this, that, and go down to the bottom left.
I mean, I don't need to play it again.
even though it's like a time loop, you're just like, oh yeah, you're here. It's like, how do you know? I don't even know where the fuck I am.
At this point, I'm just playing it for my own enjoyment. I mean, I could talk about it, but I want to play it again.
Well, I started a new game plus on my 3DS just to kind of like power my way through the game because you can do the character right now is level 99, so I can do about 70% of the game without even trying.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is a good time.
And it just refreshes me on the story. The gameplay mechanics don't really change that much.
No, of course.
What about you, Ellen? Any good innovations in gaming that kind of wowed you, I guess?
I think I'm going to go way, way back. And I'm going to say the ability to save. I mean, it sounds stupid now, but I think that is what really kick-started game lengths getting longer. I mean, some might argue that that's gone a bit too far. But I think before that, it was all these quick arcadey games. As soon as you had the ability to save your game. And I think I want to say, and nobody check this to see if I'm right, I want to say Legend of Zelda did it first.
Pop and
yeah,
Chip
that's what I
Super Cassette Vision. I just looked it up.
What's that?
What is it?
It's called Pop and Chips, 1985 for the Super Cassette Vision. First ever game that allows saving progress.
Ah, there you go.
Using a AA battery on the gaming cassette.
Oh, there you go.
A gaming cassette. Jesus Christ.
Hey,
So for all intents and purposes, Zelda is the correct answer. Like it was playing on a cassette that you had to put a battery in. Fuck off.
Yeah, Legend of Zelda.
I play games on cassettes. They don't have batteries.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
you do have those weird little.
I've got the ZX Spectrum, a great bit of British engineering.
Oh, you got you Brits and your Canadians with your Z thing. No, Z is a Power Rangers villain. Z is a letter.
Yeah,
I
Z is
agree.
how the world said it before America's like, I don't want to be British anymore. And then they were like, Z.
Yeah, that's our
Which remember,
civil disobedience right
it's
there.
not, it's Z Kale, not Z Hale.
Which I will steadfastly refuse. It is Z in all things except for Dragon Ball.
That is true.
Oh yeah,
That
you
is
can't say
100%
Dragon
true.
Ball Z.
Dragon
That
Ball
sounds
Z.
stupid. That sounds so dumb.
But yeah, so yeah, simply the ability to save your game. I think that opened up a whole new world of. I mean, come on. I mean, RPGs for a start are dead in the water
Mm-hmm.
without the ability to save.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's one of those sort of true innovations that absolutely changed the landscape.
For
No,
sure.
you're absolutely right. Like, without being able to save games, like, how many times were games shortened just because, you know, you couldn't put a lot of stuff in there because nobody could play 24 hours games straight. Like, I know we all say we can, but
Yeah,
No, we
uh,
can't. Not
yeah,
at all.
no, not anymore. But yeah, so putting the battery and stuff allowed for games like Legend of Zelda.
yeah,
Just without that, you would not have Legend of Zelda. You wouldn't have Final Fantasies. You wouldn't have these long story games we have today.
none of it.
So good call on that one, Alan.
Thank you, Brian.
Um, for me, wow, it's a lot of stuff, uh, advancements, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. I had one before I wrote the topic down. Then, of course, I write all these little bit of, you know, reminders, and now I'm drawing a complete blank what I had in my mind. But I'm going to go with portable gaming. Being able to actually take the game on the go
Hmm.
Yep.
probably opened up the world of gaming to a lot of people, especially like before cell phones were a thing and you wanted to shut your kid up at a restaurant. You slammed a Game Boy in his hand and told him to
Oh
friggin' play.
fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Or
Yeah,
if you,
I used to play Pokemon at restaurants all the time. I'd just have
yeah,
my Game Boy Pocket. Yeah.
100%.
it, and I mean, you look at the innovations in the handheld market as well. We've kind of, after Nintendo dominated, it kind of dried up, and it looks like they're trying to push back towards that market. Um, what is it? The Game Gear there, with its ability to have a colored screen, was pretty innovative for its time, even though it just sucked the life out of
I was
batteries.
going to
Like,
say, it's, yeah,
yeah,
Buy
it wasn't
fantastic,
stock in
really,
Duracell.
fantastic little console, but it just
yeah,
ate batteries.
yeah. It's portable in the sense that you can go from wall plug to wall plug, but
Yeah. That was great that you could. I think it came with a charge cable or like a wall
well,
plug cable, like an
yeah, there
AC
was no
cable.
other way to play it.
No, full
I mean,
disclosure.
I had one for my. Okay, go ahead.
Well, my the Game Gear that I have now, fuck, am I going to use batteries on it? The lead from the Master System also works for the Game Gear, so
That's perfect.
that saved me having to buy a lead for it.
Hoorah!
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. I mean, like you could get third party. There was a way to plug your Game Boy in too. You just had to get like a a third party plug because there was a port on the bottom of it. But
Right, right.
Yeah.
um,
Oh, the Game Boy there again. It's another Megazord worth of his console with all the things you
yeah,
could buy for it with the magnifying glass and the light and the
yeah,
Yep.
friggin' light that hung over. Then the case that extends the size of it, and then the extra battery pack. Oh yeah,
This
hell
isn't
yeah.
even my final form.
yeah,
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much.
throw a Game Shark or a Game Genie in there, and I had a Game Shark for my Game Boy, and it actually it kind of flipped the cartridge so that it actually like wrapped around the back from the top, if that makes any sense. Like you would put it in the cartridge slot, and then it had like a kind of a thing on the end of it where like you would plug your cartridge into the Game Shark from the bottom, so it like wrap around the back of your Game Boy.
That
It
Oh
was
does
a
yeah.
it
sound
was a
so weird.
weird it was a
Uh,
weird little contraption, but it really I only used it for I had like codes so I could call up whatever Pokemon I wanted
Oh no way!
and
I've just looked that up,
yeah.
and that is weird. So the game
Yeah, isn't
is
that?
it's kind of upside down.
Yeah, it like, like flips your game upside down, and then you have to be really careful how you hold your Game Boy if you've got your Game Shark in.
Yeah. I can see how you could just literally slide that game off while playing it.
Yeah, I have done it.
Yeah.
Many of times. But no, going back to the handhelds. I mean, Nintendo's dominated the market, like I said, but PlayStation, like when they threw their hat in the ring there with the PSP and the Vita, uh, great consoles,
Mm-hmm.
pushed it forward. Nintendo, even though arguably, well, not arguably, they are the more successful console. They're technically the better by just sales numbers. The PSP and the PS Vita were technical better consoles, and they really pushed the handheld gaming industry forward. Then Nintendo came out with the Switch and just blew everybody out of the water.
Yeah.
I'd say that I think the DS is better than the PSP. I think the PSP was, at the time that it came out, an innovation because you hadn't really seen graphics that good handheld, because it was basically like PS2 graphics but in your hand. But man, the DS is still the king. I think
Oh,
even
yeah, that's what I meant.
yeah.
Like the Nintendo
Yeah,
is arguably, like not even arguable, they are the king of the handheld. But
for sure.
graphic wise and technical specs, the PSP was technically the better console. It just they were never going to cut into that market that
No.
Nintendo had.
No, yeah, I see what you mean. But yeah, I mean I went with the PSP when there was a choice between, like the DS coming out, around that 2009, 2008 era. I went with a PSP, and I mean, it was fine. I had fun with it, but man, I look back wistfully at that like DS, and I have one now. I've remedied it, but like now shit's expensive.
Yeah.
Like where
Yeah,
the price of entry is quite high, and they don't make they don't make them anymore, obviously. So games are expensive, and
And conversely, the
man,
PSP, I mean, amazing system, but the games on that are pretty reasonable these days.
yeah, and a
yeah.
lot of
Well,
like there are some gems on the PSP, but like man, like honestly, most of the games on the PSP were kind of shit. I
oh, that
maybe
was
that's
the
a hot
problem with the
take, but
console. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's mostly watered down versions of like there's like a Jack and Daxter game that's kind of just a PSP version. There's a God of War game that's just kind of a PSP version. It's just like watered down handheld versions of
Mm.
the console stuff instead of like going all out what you should have done on a handheld, which is like make RPGs for this handheld console is all you need to do.
Yeah, true enough.
yeah,
And
and
that's what Nintendo did is
it's
like,
also Sony's aversion to proprietary stuff like the UMD discs couldn't be used in anything else. Their memory cards were unique to their consoles, which made them overpriced.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Those
like I got,
UMDs were so fucking weird.
yeah,
And
they were.
like, whose favorite way of watching a film was a fucking PSP?
Says
Oh my
everybody
god.
who watches films on their phone now.
I can't I can't tell you, like there was definitely an era going into a GameStop where there was just shelves of those fucking UMD movies, and they were like $2 a piece, and
Yeah.
it was just all the crappy like schlock from the 2000s
On
on like
I
on a
think
honestly,
it's
UMD.
I think it's Nomad from the Retro Wildlands podcast. He posts pictures on Twitter, and he has a good collection of PSP games and UMD movies.
Does he really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
there he
awesome.
is. I mean, no joke. I was in a game shop today, um, a local one, and they had a bunch of those movies in there.
That's crazy. They actually made those for the Game Boy Advance too. I didn't realize. The local shop here that I go to, shout out Game Together MKE, go check them out.
if you're in
He,
Wisconsin. Otherwise,
if
it's
you're in, yeah, if you're in this very specific part of Wisconsin, go check them out.
unless you want to drive.
Yeah, come drive, come take a visit.
Just not
Um,
not from England, obviously.
yeah, unless you have one of those cool James Bond cars that you can
Don't the
turn into a
cyber
submarine.
go
We've
in the
all got
water?
those.
Yeah, I would assume everyone's got one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, they even made like there was a partnership with, I don't know if it was Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, to have like little like Game Boy Advance cartridges with episodes of cartoon shows on
No
them. You
way.
could stick them in your Game Boy. Yeah, they're really like he's got them all on in the Game Boy Advance display, and they're pretty cheap. I was really tempted to just pick one up and see what it was all about.
Do it. Let us know. I've never heard of that. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's a really weird little thing that I never saw them when they were out.
No.
And like, I guess I was in high school when the Game Boy Advance was in its heyday. So I wasn't really like, getting cartoons for my Game Boy Advance.
No, you were all cool going to parties and kissing girls. Or boys, whichever side you go for.
No.
It's 2024, buddy. Wake up.
Yeah. You need to be inclusive. We'll kiss everybody on this podcast.
All right, well, let's see you
that
guys.
Was that led to a pause.
All right, I'm going to throw some consoles out here. Tell me which one you think sold more, PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360?
360. Easy.
PlayStation 3 by 3 million.
You're joking.
Really?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Right now, I'll tell you there is absolutely no PlayStation except for the 5 that has sold less than Xbox 360, which is Xbox top selling console.
Wow.
That because I feel like the 360 was really strong out of the gate, and I had no idea that the PS3 clawed it back that much.
It recovered at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it had a rough launch, didn't it?
Yeah. And then the Xbox One launch was such a debacle there with the always online, can't trade or share your games. Then you always have to have it connected to your TV because it's more of an entertainment system than it is a console. And
that's an example of like don't force poor marketing for sure, but like don't force your customer base into a innovation or supposed innovation that they're not ready for. Like, don't make me be online all the time. I don't want to be online all the time.
No, nobody wants that, even to this day, and it's still happening. Is it was all part of the DRM or the what was it called, digital rights management.
Yeah,
and you being online all the time meant they could ping that game to make sure that you legally owned it, to kind of curb the whole pirating of games that was happening.
Jesus. I mean, I wasn't actually online with the Xbox 360 until about the time of Mass Effect 3 came out, I think. That was a good few years into its lifespan.
Oh, yeah. I was online from the Xbox because the reason I got the 360 is Xbox Live really took me away. It was way better than anything PlayStation offered. But no, the 360, I played mostly only online games, very few single player games, except for like the Fables or games that didn't have an online.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I did was just Fable and Elder Scrolls.
All right, I got the next one for you. What do you think sold more, the Mega Drive / Genesis or the Nintendo 64?
Oh, the 64 for sure.
I'm gonna be the voice of dissent and say the Mega Drive.
Sam gets the circle. That is the Nintendo 64, 32.93 million, Vice 30.75.
Oh, but not by much, huh?
No, like these ones are, the last two I gave you are side by side. And finally, what do you think has sold more, the Quest 2 or the Xbox Series X and S? That's the Facebook Meta Quest 2.
Oh,
fuck that thing. Probably the Xbox.
I mean, I feel like there's that. Listen, I'm happy to be wrong. Does the Quest have like other uses beside games? Like, is it one of those things that can be used for like business and stuff like that?
Porn, a lot of porn.
All right, the Quest.
Porn, yeah.
The Quest then.
It's actually the Series XS by 1 million units.
But not by much.
No, again, it's estimated. Like Xbox doesn't release their sales numbers, so everything's estimated. So it's about 21 million Xboxes versus 20 million Quest 2s.
Well, there you go.
Have you ever played with one of those?
My son has one downstairs. I tried it because there's like a game called The Room. It's a puzzle game.
Oh, no way. I just bought one of those on my phone, actually. The fourth one.
Yeah, really fun. And this game, like, the problem I have with VR is it makes me motion sick.
Yeah.
Because you move in the game, but you don't move in real world. So my body doesn't know how to adjust to that. But where my kid can do it like it's no problem.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't enjoy it.
Those Room games are really good, though.
Oh, they're so good. I have them all.
Yeah,
like
same.
As soon as I saw this VR one, I bought it.
Yeah.
No, so that's everything I had. I just had the list of best-selling consoles because I wanted to see if they lumped the DS with the 3DS because some people do that. Um, they consider them the same console, even though they're technically two different consoles.
Yeah.
Right. Or like the Switch and the Switch Lite.
No, see, those count as the same console because they use the
Yeah.
same game cartridges, where the DS and the 3DS
Oh,
have separate game cartridges.
yeah, that's true.
That's
Then I
true.
think the 3DS should be separate.
Yeah, and some people lump it together and call it the same system.
That'd be like saying the PS1 and the PS2 are the same system just because they can play the same. You know, like
Yeah,
it's
but one
PS2
can
is a
play
backwards
both.
compatible. Yeah.
One can play both, but the old one can't. So, ergo, they're two separate systems, right?
Yeah, they're
Huh.
they're definitely two separate, I would say. God, I love
All right.
3DS.
That was a fun little section. I enjoyed that.
Well,
Yeah.
I just had it open. I just figured, like, let's
we
let's
should
have a
make
fun
that a
little
thing.
game. All right. Let's make
Trivia
Alan
time.
and Sam guess stuff. I could probably come up with some trivia questions for you guys.
Yeah. Good times.
All right, I have it on my list of things to try next time. But what do you say we wrap it up for the day? Because it's getting late here. I haven't had dinner yet. And Alan, I'm pretty sure you have to go to work in 15 minutes.
Yeah, Betty Bye time over there.
That's fine. I'll just hop in my James Bond car. I'll be in there, and I'll be there in 12 minutes.
Well, from the way you were talking earlier, you're probably just going to take a nap when you get to work, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like
On-
sleeps on the toilet and
on my
wakes up
unpaid
occasionally to play
scheduled
DS.
lunch break.
All right, boys, this was a lot of fun. We're definitely going to do this again. We're going to start talking how often, schedules, and stuff like that. But who wants to give us the goodbye message for this show?
Oh, not me. I routinely fuck that up. Someone else take it.
Alan?
I'll give it a go. Thanks for listening to three aging nerds ramble about video games, something we all love. This is a Patreon show, right? I can't remember these things.
Yes, it's a
Will be.
Patreon show.
Yeah.
So
It will be a Patreon show. It's going to start out free on the free feed, which people should be listening to now en masse. But this is going to go behind the Patreon under the free tier for a while, and then eventually it'll go behind the paid tier once enough people know about it.
well, thank you for being Patreons. We all appreciate you, and thanks for listening. And get out there and play some games.